Hello, everybody. Welcome back. Today, I wanted to talk about the greatest love we'll never know. Also, sorry if you can hear my son in the background. I have my daughter on a nap, but my son has decided that he is an adult and he doesn't need to nap anymore. So, there's that piece of information. So the greatest love that we'll never know really is our siblings. Especially if they're within like a 3-year age bracket of us. So what's interesting is I am in the 202 club. My son is 2. He'll be 3 in June. And my daughter is about 9 or 10 months. She'll be 1 in February. So it's been so interesting for my husband and I to watch them in general. So, as a nickname, I actually call them boy boy and girl girl, which I know is pretty basic, which is hilarious, but I don't know. Actually, I have quite a few nicknames for them, but I think that those would be best to use here for the channel. So, boy boy was born June 4th, right after the event. So 2021. I don't know math. Boy I think he was born 2022. Don't judge me. I'm not really good at holding on to dates like that. I don't know, but anyway. So the point is, when my husband and I found out that I was pregnant with him, we were surprised, but we were also very happy because he was something that we had kind of formulated in our mind when we first met each other. So within, I don't know, a week or two of my husband and I knowing each other, we met each other during the event. We had tons of time to spend together. My husband's dream was to have children, a son in particular. And my dream was just to have a family. Wasn't too picky about the dynamics of it. Just because I had been traveling and I had been alone for quite a few years. And I noticed that for my personality in general, I kind of do better when I have a family. Like I work harder, I am more productive, things like that. Versus when I'm single, I feel like I just kind of F my money off and do random things. So boy boy. Well, we'll back up a little bit from that. So since I ended up getting pregnant in a different country than my home country, I was apprehensive about like hospital care and giving birth in a country that I know doesn't have much experience in dealing with people of my ethnicity, I guess, or nationality, because we're all different in the way that different nationalities have different problems. So I decided early on that I was going to have a wild pregnancy and a home birth. So, which I will post a separate video about each child's experience, because I actually did that with my daughter as well. Mostly because I did it with my son and I felt more confident and comfortable doing it, and just felt like a professional. However, I did have a little bit of doubt because, when you do want something that seems or something that society seems like is a miracle and like unfathomable, then you feel like to do it twice would be testing your luck, and maybe something will go wrong the second time around because maybe the first time you were just lucky. But yeah, like I said, next video, we'll talk about them. So boy boy is special a bit. So technically, not technically, reality, I have 3 children. I have an older daughter, which again, I'll talk about on a different one. And she is 14 now, I believe. And then I have my son, who, like I said, is 2. And then I have the youngest daughter, which is a few months old, coming up on 1. But I've never had 2 children at the same time in the same household. And I've never been a parent with a partner. My oldest daughter was a single mom situation. I was younger. Like I said, another video for another time. So in a way, all of this is new to me just because it's very different. So, yeah. What's interesting is I don't like to label my children, but my husband and I think that boy might be on the spectrum and have slight autism or Asperger's. However, culturally, we treat him the same way as all the other children. He still gets disciplined. I still said what I said, and I'll still take him out of the world since I brought him in. Which, in my opinion, helps with that. Now, on the other hand, we do let him get away with things that we wouldn't let the girls get away with. Like, he only eats chicken primarily, or finger foods, we'll say, because he likes pizza as well. And we'll let him, we'll just kind of put his food out in front of the TV, and we'll let him get a piece when he feels like it, pop it in his mouth. He can still run around, play, We don't really cage him in, things like that. And we also just kind of let him be free and be himself. So another thing about Boy is at this time, he is still nonverbal. So since Boy is my second child, I'm not in a rush per se for him to be verbal. And the only time that it kind of, hits me on the head is when other people mention it. Like if we go somewhere and there's an adult that wants to talk to him, like, oh, what's your name? Or if they give him something and they're expecting for him to say like, thank you, or something like that. That's the only, or when a family member says like, he's almost 3, he still doesn't talk. Those are the only times that I'm like, oh crap. Maybe I should try to figure out something to help him speak. Now, he's not a mute. He makes sounds and he has his, the sounds like ba, 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 and beep, 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 and things like that. So he has his own way of communicating, but it's just not tangible to people that are not in his inner circle. He is my first and only boy. Hi, boy. All right. So because of that, no clue what I'm doing, but he is an absolute joy. He really is. He is so loving and empathetic, and he's freaking funny, and he has so much energy, and he's so brave, and he has so much confidence. And those same things that I listed are the same things that drive me nuts about him. So, meaning if he wants something and you tell him no, don't even worry about it. He'll figure out a way to Spider-Man climb up there and get it himself because he's an adult and he's in control. Now, Girl was actually a surprise to us. Honey, please. So Girl was a surprise to us. And so I found out about her on Boy's first birthday. We were excited and he turned 1 and we'd went to party and I couldn't keep my soju down. And, soju's pretty easy to keep down if you know, you know. So I was like, what is happening, So then I realized like, well, man, I haven't had a period. However, I breastfed Boy and I breastfeed Girl as well. So me not having a period was not alarming because I don't get a period after my birth. I get the after bleed after the child physically comes out, but I don't get an actual cycle for quite a while, which I will touch on when we get to Girl's segment of this story. Hello, boy. Do you want to say hello? Okay, thank you. So, yeah, train of thought, back on it. So she was a complete surprise. And my husband and I just knew 100%, oh yeah, this is our second son. And we had a name picked out, a boy's name, obviously. And we knew that it was going to be, wrestling. And we started saving some of some of boy's clothes and shoes. And we were like, because we were so spot on with him. So the only medical appointment that I got during both pregnancies was just an ultrasound that I paid for privately so that we can confirm the sex of the child and then also take a peek of the child and make sure that everything was okay from that moment, because it's a halfway point when you get to see the sex of the child. So in that time you can see, make sure they have all their arms and what have you. So I remember my husband and I and boy, we went to the appointment the first time. And the first time the woman says, okay, well, I have an idea of what it is, but I'm not 100% sure. And since I'm not 100% sure, I don't want to tell you guys something. And it's, goes pear-shaped. So if you guys can do me a favor and come back in 4 weeks. And I remember I was devastated because I don't know if I mentioned yet, we live in regional. So at this moment, we live in regional New South Wales, but our closest city would be Melbourne and Victoria. So for us to get over to Melbourne, it takes about 5 or 6 hours. So it's not something that we do. We normally go to Melbourne once a season, maybe, or maybe not even that. Just to, take boy in to go to like those children museums and things of that nature, or to go shopping or to see my husband's family, or I don't know, just random reasons. But we don't go to Melbourne often. We normally just stay out in the sticks where we belong. So, however, on a different video, I will explain why we live in the sticks, because it's not just us living in the sticks per se, but it is. Okay, so moving on. So I remember at that time I felt super gutted because I wanted, I just felt like a failure. Like I felt like, gosh, like what, I ate a Twix bar before the appointment and I peed. Like, why is this happening? And then I was so annoyed because then we have to spend money and we wasted a trip to go there, whole 9 yards, whatever. Long story short, we go back. Woman says, it's a girl. And I was going to say DA, but I'm not even sure if you can say that on YouTube. So full stop, I'll say instead, full stop. We were just like silent and just like blank for a moment. And then the doctor lady was like, are you guys okay? But we were like we were buzzing, you know what I mean? Like we were like, a girl, like what? No. This is our little blank. Like we already have the name for little blank and the shoes and clothes. Like what? And so for my husband, having a girl was his nightmare. So my husband he comes from a Muslim family, just to give you some background, and he's conservative in that way. Okay. So because of the way life and marriage works, my husband just called me and he took me off track. So hold on a second so I can think of where I was. Oh, BH, which is bloody and then double, what is it? Hockey sticks, something. Anyway, silence. girl, conservative, Muslim background. Great. So technically, I have a Christian background, and technically is just how it's said, technically. But again, I'll talk about my marriage and cultural differences in a different video because it's just way too much to cram into one. So anyways, drop girl. My son, the entire time my son is pregnant, the entire time I'm pregnant, my son is like gives 0 F's about it. And meaning like, because I was still breastfeeding him at the time. So meaning he's still trying to wrestle with me, climb on me. It was almost like his goal was to continuously kick me in the stomach. I don't know if it was purposely or in my mind. Sort of a nightmare, but I have grace because of that Christian background thing. Anyway, I give birth to girl. We try to introduce her to my son. My son's looking like, duh. You know what I mean? And then has no interest in her. So I'm like, okay. We're all like, okay, we won't push it. You know, whatever. So then girl and I have to go away for a bit because I get a job opportunity in a different state. And I'll talk about, like I said in another video, a mess about why I had to do this. So I had to go to another state to work. So girl was 4 weeks old, and her and I went to a different state, and we ended up staying there until she was from 1 month for like 5 months, 6 months. Even though I was only supposed to stay there for like 2 months, but like I said, we'll talk about that in another story. In that time, my husband and my son came out to where we were to celebrate my son's birthday together. And so we seen them for maybe like 3 to 4 weeks out of the whole 6 months girl and I were gone. So my husband and I were nervous when I had decided to move back home and reacclimate everyone, because the way my son seen it was kind of like, oh, girl is like kind of like when we go on vacation, you know, like I see her for like 2 days and then I get all my stuff and I'm still the only child kind of thing. So the good thing about my son is he is a junior in every way, shape, and form. So his actual name is the junior of his father, the senior. And he loves that man more than anything I can think of, or anyone can think of, really. You know, like he gives barely 2 F's about me. Like I don't have to be around him really. He just kind of does his own thing, and his father's his go-to for naps and this and that, which I'll talk about in a little bit. So girl and I moved back home, and then when my son realizes like, oh, how come every day I'm waking up and this girl, like this baby, this thing is still here? Like, what is happening? And in the beginning, it was a little bit difficult because it was okay as long as I had girl, but the minute that my husband would have girl, all crap would break loose. You know what I mean? Like, my son was not having it because that's his abo. So we try to work on that, and I also try to build a better relationship with my boy here. But what's interesting now is that as girl has grown up, you see in the beginning, she was just kind of like a doll. She couldn't do much. But girl loves my son the way that my son loves his father. So it reminds me of that scene in that Julia Roberts movie, My Best Friend's Wedding, where Julia Roberts' gay best friend, which was played by Rupert, what's-his-face, was saying, okay, Michael is chasing whatever Cameron Diaz's character's name was. And you, Julia Roberts, is chasing Michael. But who is chasing you? No one. So it's kind of like that kind of situation in this house. And that's helpful. However, I don't mind because I always have a lot going on, and this is about Girl Girl and Bo Boy, so I guess I'll talk about that later. The later part. I'm gonna get it together. Anyways, so yeah, so that's kind of how it goes. But now Girl Girl can crawl and she can coast. And it is the cutest, most beautiful thing that I think I have ever seen in my life. Like, I've never seen unspoken love so true. Like, they don't hug each other, obviously. They're small. They don't, but you can tell. So, like, for example, my girl's thing is food, honey. Period. Like, my son will leave out his lunch for her to just chew on, because girl only got like 2 to 4 good teeth, so she ain't really eating human food like that. But he'll allow her to have the food. And my girl will allow him, like, if she picks up a toy and he doesn't want her to have the toy, she'll let him take the toy from her, and she doesn't fuss. And you know what I mean? Like, and one of their favorite things to do together is bath time. We have a shower, a stand-up shower, but I have a baby tub in there. And even though my son is huge and has no business in the baby tub, you can't tell him no different, because everything is still his. He's still the king of the house in his mind. So he'll go in there and he'll sit in the tub, and then girl will crawl inside the shower, and she will here, boy, and she will thank you, and she will just play around with him, but she respects his boundaries. She stays outside the bathtub, and if she starts to get cold or upset, my son will get out of the bathtub and he'll pick it up, because my son is creepily strong and he's bigger for his age. Or that's what people tell us. We really don't know. And he'll pick up the tub and he'll dump the water out so that she can have some water to splash around in while she's crawling around the shower. Because normally I leave the shower head on just a tad so he knows he can fill the tub back up with water and get back in it. It's just, I don't know, I guess. You know, I'm a middle child. I have an older sister and a younger brother. But I guess looking at it from a parent's perspective versus being in it is two totally different things. And I hope that they can keep this respect and love for each other for the rest of their lives, because it's just so interesting to watch them learn to accommodate each other and be together without anyone having to tell them. So that is one of my many stories